Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video on Duped, a makeup product that has been duped. If you guys haven't seen any of my other duped videos, go check them out. I've done one on the Tati Beauty Blendable, I've done some on the Natasha Denona shadows, and today we are going to be doing a dupe for Urban Decay's Naked Reloaded. So these are the two that we are going to be examining today. We have the Studio Makeup Easy to Wear eyeshadow palette it dupes the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded. So we are going to do one eye with the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded, one eye with the Studio Makeup palette, and we'll see how they stack up and if they really are a dupe for one another. So on top you have the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette, and on the bottom you have the Studio Makeup one. As you can tell, obviously the Naked Reloaded palette comes with a couple of more shades than the Studio Makeup one, but the color stories are very, very similar. So for $44 you can buy the Naked Reloaded palette, or for $35 you can get the Studio Makeup Easy to Wear eyeshadow palette. So you save about $10 if you buy the dupe version. So guys, I know that Studio Makeup is still considered a higher end brand. However, it is still almost $10 cheaper than the Naked Reloaded, and their color stories are really, really similar. So that is why we are doing a duped video of these two. So it's not really a drugstore brand like what I usually do my duped videos with, but I was thinking, okay, if you want to buy something really, really similar to the Naked Reloaded and you don't want to spend $45, $10 cheaper and you get a Studio Makeup one. Let's compare swatches really quick, and I wanted to show you guys some of the swatches from this palette and then also some swatches from the Naked Reloaded palette, and then we're going to do an eye look. It smells like chocolate. Okay guys, so we're going to swatch some of the colors in the Studio Makeup palette, and then we're going to compare them to some of the swatches in the Naked Reloaded palette to see how they compare. So the first one I'm going to swatch for you guys is Dusk. I'm going to put that on my arm, and I will actually do a like side-by-side comparison for you. And then we have Sheen right here, which is like a skin tone color, but it also is a shimmer color. And then I'm going to swatch Bare, B-A-R-E. This one is a matte shade as well. So I'm going to swatch Wicked, which is this one here. It's kind of like a sheen, has a little bit of a sparkle to it. And then we're going to swatch Gilded, which is this one here. So here are the swatches from Makeup Studio. Next we're going to swatch some from the Naked Reloaded palette. So the first one we're going to swatch is Retro. We're going to swatch Angel Fire. And then we have Bucked. And then we have Distilled. And then the last one is called Dreamweaver. I need to start swatching more. Okay, so these are the comparison between the shadows. So we have the Studio Makeup one is always on the right, and then the Urban Decay one is always on the left. So going through, you guys will be able to see all of these different swatches. Fairly similar in color, but you can tell there is some different pigmentations in here. Definitely with the pink from Urban Decay is a lot brighter. And then these two colors, the Urban Decay one is actually more of a white sheen, but they're very, very similar in color. So as you guys can see, they both have really, really similar color stories in them. Obviously the Urban Decay one, you get a little bit more eyeshadow, but they have the basic color story. Do you really want to spend $10 more for this one than what you do this one? So let's compare the two and see how they apply on the eye, see if they make the same eyeshadow look as, you know, one another. Let's see if they really are dupes, if the Studio Makeup one really is a dupe for the Naked Reloaded palette. So we're going to do the Naked Reloaded palette on the right side of my face, and then we'll do the Studio palette on the left side of my face. So we're going to take Bucked. Then I'm going to use Retro, which is that pink one. we're going to use Angel Fire. Okay, so we have one eye done with the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded, and now we are going to clean the brushes with my shadow switching pan, and we're going to use the Studio Makeup eyeshadow palette. So my brushes are clean. We're going to use the Studio Makeup on the left side of my face. We're going to try and duplicate the eyeshadow look. I mean, I don't have anywhere to go today, so why not? So we're going to use Bear, which is right here. And it reminds me of like Grin and Bear It, but you know. We're going to use Dusk, which is the pink color. We're going to take Sheen, which is that really sparkly sheen color. Okay guys, here you have each look on each side of my face. You have the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette on this side, you have the Studio Makeup on this side. And can you tell a difference? I think that there are some subtle differences between each side of my face, but overall it's like you can't really tell that I'm wearing two different eyeshadow palettes. Now, when I was using each one of these, there are some things that I do want to note for you guys. So in the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette versus the Studio Makeup palette, I did notice that the Studio Makeup is actually a little bit more cool toned, whereas the Naked is actually more of a warm tone palette. So that is something that I did notice between some of the shades that I use between these two palettes. Now, they do have really similar color stories, but one is a little bit more cool toned, one is a little bit more warm toned. So keep that in mind. Now, when it comes down to some of the pigmentation with each of the eyeshadows, they're pretty similar. I think that the only one that I really noticed a difference with was the two sheen colors. So this one is the sheen color, and then we have Angel Fire, which is this one here, and I put those on the middle of the lid to kind of create a halo eye. And I do notice on the Urban Decay side, it is more sparkly, it's brighter, whereas the sheen color on the Studio Makeup side, I need to switch these. Gosh, I'm gonna confuse you guys. Whereas I did notice that sheen on this side of the eye is more of a, it's not as like metallic as the one from Urban Decay. That is one thing that I noticed. They are both very beautiful palettes. They are really similar. The only other thing that I noticed was that the pink color in the Studio Makeup one tends to diffuse a lot more. It's not as pigmented as the one in the Naked Reloaded palette. So keep that in mind if you guys are looking for a dupe and you guys want to spend a little bit less money and you don't want to invest in the Reloaded. You're thinking about maybe getting the Studio Makeup palette instead. Now, as far as like the actual consistency and quality overall of this palette, I do enjoy it, and I've actually used it a couple of times now compared to my Naked Reloaded palette. Would I spend an extra, you know, $10 to get the Naked Reloaded compared to this one? Oh yeah, probably, definitely. The reason why I say that is because the Naked Reloaded palette, it comes with more shades, it's more pigmented in a lot of the shades that I would end up using. So like, I use the sheen color a lot in here, the Angel Fire one. I do like the retro pink color, and I do use that one a lot. And some of the other shades in here, it's more warm tone instead of cool tone. So if I were to have to make a deciding factor between these two palettes, if you spend $44 on the Naked Reloaded or you spend $35 on the Studio Makeup, I would go for the Naked Reloaded palette. Now, is the Studio Makeup Palette a dupe for the Naked Reloaded? And yes, it's $10 cheaper, and I do think that the color stories are really similar. It is a dupe for the Naked Reloaded palette, and they are both technically considered high-end. So if you are strapped for cash and you don't have the extra $10 to spend on the Naked Reloaded palette, then this is a great option for you. And actually, I think this is a great option to add to a professional makeup artist's kit. Because it is a little bit more affordable and the shadows are still really pigmented in there, and it's a great nude palette to add to your collection. But they're super similar. $10 difference. You get a little bit more in this one than what you do in this one, but seriously, like, they are so close in quality, in color story. They're exactly the same. This one has a little bit more, but seriously, they're like the same palette, and one's just a little bit less expensive. Definitely a dupe for the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. I feel like when they created this palette, they had the Naked Reloaded in mind. Maybe not, I'm just kind of guessing here. But I do believe that it is like a dupe for the Naked Reloaded. Now you're spending $10 less to get this one, and it's still higher end eyeshadows, and then you spend $10 more to get this one, and you get a little bit more in here. So really, it's up to you as the consumer, as the buyer, to figure out which one you would rather invest in. Maybe there's some shades in the Naked Reloaded that you know you just wouldn't use, and maybe you can only afford the Studio Makeup $35 one. It's only $10 cheaper, but I had to do a dupe video. I had to see if they really were as comparable as they are when I see them in pan, and yes, they are. They are so comparable when you see them in pan and when you see them on the eye. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for a neutral palette. You have some options out there. They're very similar. So guys, thank you for watching another duped video. If you guys like seeing the duped videos on my channel, leave a comment below. I do have more coming to my channel. It is a series that I am doing. It is something that is going to be a permanent series on my channel, duped. They are the duped videos. So if you guys like these, give them a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more when they do pop up on my channel, and I will see you guys later. Bye.